California used to be a stronghold in FBS college football. USC was an absolute dynasty. UCLA was still relevant. Cal was producing NFL stars like crazy, and Stanford was a perennial top 10 program. If you were a 5-star recruit in the Golden State, you did not leave. Fast forward to the end of the 2024 season, and the state of California didn't produce a single team with more than 7 wins. San Jose State had the best record in the state at 7-6. For everyone else, it was chaos, underperformance, and disappointment. This has been boiling over for decades. So what the hell happened? USC losing with Lincoln Riley is just the tip of the iceberg. It's top recruits fleeing the state. It's the Bay Area schools budgeting like it's 2012, and it's UCLA playing in a half-empty Rose Bowl. And the craziest part is, some of these schools are actually making moves, bold hires, NIL overhauls, 5-star quarterbacks on the way. But is it too late? Let's talk about how California lost its grip on college football and if they'll ever get it back. First, hit the like button to support the channel. Let me know in the comments, what do you think happened to California? And make sure to subscribe for more sports breakdowns like this, because it's always sunny on Saturdays. The state of California should be a CFB power without question. We're talking about the most populous state in the country, a literal pipeline of NFL talent, 278 current pros from the state to be exact, and year-round weather so nice, it makes Florida look humid and miserable. You've got a tradition of winning in everything. The Showtime Lakers, the 2010 Giants, Joe Montana, current Steph, Shohei freaking Ohtani, brands, location, Instagram models, come on now. This is the home of USC, a program with more Heismans than some entire conferences. UCLA plays in arguably the most beautiful setting in sports. Stanford, a school of brainiacs and nerds, was feared for years because of these guys, and Cal once had Aaron Rodgers, Marshawn Lynch, and Deshaun Jackson. The recruiting base is just ridiculous. Southern California alone has enough talent to fuel an entire conference. Modern day St. John's Bosco, Mission Viejo, you can live in a cornfield in Iowa and still understand the name brand value of these insane high school programs. On paper, it's perfect. The ingredients are there. The history is there. There's no reason this state shouldn't be a monster in the modern college football era. And yet, Cal hasn't had double-digit wins in 19 years. Stanford has gone 3-9 for 4 straight seasons. Hey, that's consistency. USC got so desperate to be great again, they paid $20 million to buy out Lincoln Riley from Oklahoma in 2021, only to go a measly 26-14 in 3 seasons with a Heisman-winning quarterback, not sniffing the playoffs and finishing both the 23 and 24 seasons unranked. And UCLA has had nothing to write home about in a decade. Their last coach, Chip Kelly, hated being there so much. He put zero effort into recruiting, had bad relationships with boosters, didn't care about NIL, and literally quit to take a job that was a downgrade. This isn't a slump. It's a slow death. If you're under 25 years of age, this might sound insane, but there was a time when California ran college football. Let's start with USC. In 2003, national title. 2004, they went back-to-back, and in 2005, they played for a third in arguably the greatest college football game ever. Pete Carroll had the Trojans on a different planet. Reggie Bush was a superhero. Matt Leinart dated celebrities while getting classmates pregnant. Snoop Dogg was on the sideline, and it was pure entertainment. Meanwhile, Cal wasn't just surviving in the shadow, they were eating in their own right. They had multiple top 10 finishes in the early 2000s, beat Pete Carroll in 2003, and nearly snuck into a BCS Bowl in 2004. Aaron Rodgers and Marshawn Lynch were backfield legends. Deshaun Jackson was turning punt returns into mixtapes, and even when they weren't title contenders, they were in every big conversation and their games mattered. People forget how nasty Stanford was. From 2010 to 2015, they won 3 Pac-12 titles, made 3 BCS Bowls, and finished ranked every single year. In a span of 7 seasons, 6 of them were 10 wins or more. Andrew Luck was the best quarterback in the country. Christian McCaffrey got robbed of a Heisman. David Shaw was one of the most respected coaches in the game, and they had a formula. Even UCLA had a run. Jim Mora went 29-11 from 2012 to 2014. They knocked off USC 3 years in a row, were recruiting in the top 15 nationally, and looked like a sleeping giant about to wake up. At one point, ESPN had them ranked number 7 in the nation with playoff buzz. All 4 of these programs were at least relevant all around the same time, and for a few years, they were dangerous. So what happened? Well, the players stopped coming, and it's not exactly for why you'd think. In 2010, 14 of the top 20 recruits in California stayed in state, and they didn't all go to USC. All of the 4 big teams were getting down and dirty. By 2025, that number has dropped to 3. Alabama, Penn State, Oregon, and more came raiding and left with most of the state's top talents. The worst part is that these same kids used to dream of playing in the Coliseum or Rose Bowl their entire lives, but for various reasons, now they're dreaming of going deep into SEC country, Big Ten country to play in Death Valley, Tuscaloosa, Happy Valley, and many more. But it's not just about winning. It's about money. NIL is obviously college football's new arm race, and California brought a Nerf gun. The Texas One Fund raised $22 million, LSU, they raised $20 million, Georgia, Bama, and A&M are all in the $15 to $18 million range. Meanwhile, in the early stages of this process, USC wasn't even in the same ballpark as those schools. Stanford originally didn't even try with NIL. They cited academic integrity, and Cal created a compliance board that strangled every NIL deal before it got off the ground. UCLA had a head coach who didn't even believe in NIL. Chip Kelly refused to adapt and ghosted modern recruiting for years. Let's not pretend this came out of nowhere though. This was years in the making. The Reggie Bush scandal nuked USC's credibility. The Lane Kiffin circus, Sarkisian's messy exit, and Helton's mediocrity turned the Trojans from Hollywood to has-beens. Now recruits don't trust California programs to compete anymore. They see half-empty stadiums, NIL incompetence, and zero vision for the future. The state still produces stars. That's not the issue. They just don't stay. Everyone else is cashing in on California's collapse. But is a possible comeback in the works, or are they 4 years, California let the sport pass them by, while Texas, the rest of the SEC, Ohio State, and more built NIL empires, pouring in hundreds of millions into rosters, staffing, and buildings. The West Coast was still running things like it was their old 06 glory days. But finally, in 2025 and beyond, we're getting signs of life. USC is trying to reclaim its crown. After flopping with the Heisman winner, Lincoln Riley's staff has retooled everything on and off the field with a whole new defensive philosophy, embracing the House of Victory Collective, hiring full-time NIL directors, and getting aggressive about locking down that SoCal talent again. UCLA finally looks like it cares. They just landed 5-star homegrown quarterback Nico Iamaleava and put the whole portal controversy aside. That kind of get would have been unthinkable under Chip Kelly, because remember, he did pass on Kelly. Now under Deshaun Foster and an entire new staff, they finally have some momentum. Let's see if they keep it and start building the hype back for an otherwise irrelevant program nationally. Even the academic powerhouses are finally doing something. Stanford and Cal hired GM-style athletic directors and former alums Andrew Luck and Ron Rivera to overhaul talent and keep up with the rest of the country with the limited resources they have. They realize that if you don't adapt, you die, and let's hope that Stanford can get past the dreaded 3-win mark this year. And outside the Big 4 in the state, the group of 5 programs, they're making steps in their own right too. Fresno State and San Diego State are joining the new Pac-12 in 2026, part of a media rights deal that'll benefit both schools. Fresno is already investing heavily into facility upgrades that are going to be awesome, and SDSU is trying to leverage their resources with a new head coach to get back where they were in the Rashad Penny days. While California schools were bickering over NIL, everyone else built empires. From there, the top talent in Cali stopped waiting around and buying into the hype of the washed-up brands to go where they actually could win and get to the next level. But if the state could get the next era of college football right, they could flip the script real fast. The only question left is who wants it bad enough to make it happen. Hey, if any of these football departments are hiring, I am unemployed, so hit me up on LinkedIn if you want your team to win more than 10 games. Anyways, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.